all systems go. Clear for liftoff. What's up, everyone? Tyler Tamboline here, aka ToeTagginTambo, back for another edition of the Monday First Look Show. Masters to remember. We'll get to all that in a second, but we're back for the RBC Heritage. No Masters hangover here is what I was trying to say. We'll get back to it here with my guy Hoopstool. Bring him in here in a second, but tons to talk about from last week. We'll go through it all. We did have another Millie Maker winner from the nation. Shout out to our guy Chris. More on that in a minute, but Hoop, I'll bring you in first, man. Just an amazing Masters week. Shout out to Philly fan. I'm first in the home, the boots on the ground. Let's get this money. It's going to be a big week here, RBC Heritage. We'll talk a little bit about last week, get the housekeeping, all the marketing stuff out of the way. How you doing, my friend?
Yeah, it was a fun week. Masters week hits different than basically any other PGA event all season long. It kind of, kicks off the season because now we'll have a major basically every single month from here on out. Some of these signature events coming up. One this week, obviously, another loaded field that we're going to talk about. But the Masters last week was a big success for the SHIPIT Nation community on multiple levels. I mean, it wasn't only the main slate where we saw big winners. We had members that won round 2, round 3, and round 4, like big boy prizes as well. And, it's very cool to see the community just rallying around each other, getting these winners. And we always talk about it here. It's like, man, like you surround yourself with good people, good things happen. That's kind of been our mantra from the beginning. It's kind of how myself and Tambo came together starting this whole thing. Him and I very like-minded, worked together obviously at previous spots and had a lot of conversations, just very like-minded people. And, we've kind of built our company that way where we want everyone a part of our team to kind of have the same mindset and same philosophy and same, morals and all that sort of thing. And you see it trickle all the way down to our members, our community, very supportive community, none of the bullshit in the Discord. A lot of Discords you get in, a lot of toxicity, a lot of issues. We don't have any of that stuff. And, I'm not, a hierarchy type person by any means, but this is what we wanted to happen when we built this company. We wanted all our people to have, very similar mindsets, supportive, just good people all around. And, that goes a long way in life. I mean, I've always been a big proponent of just having chemistry with people. This is a funny joke, not joke, but a funny story that a lot of people might laugh about it. But I was big into bowling. I was a big bowler, before I had kids. And, I'd always put myself in situations on teams where everyone kind of got along, like everyone had a good time, and we always had a lot of success. And I just have always been someone that believes in, team chemistry, surrounding yourself with good people, and the success will come. It's what you're starting to see now at SHIPIT Nation, and it's been going on the entire time, and it's only going to continue. So, that's one part of our business that we always talk about. We don't want to be in one lane. We don't want to just give you plays and picks and that sort of thing. We want to offer you everything and have each individual piece of content just be a piece of the pie, like we say, part of your process. Certain people will use certain things to find success. Yes, this week, a lot of people in Discord, and I'm not saying this because it was my core, but my core did very well this week. It had Scotty, it had Bryson, and it had, Taylor Morris, my favorite cheap guy. All those guys did well, and a lot of our members made a lot of money off of that. This week it worked. Guess what? This week, maybe my core won't do as well, but there's other parts of our content that can help you get on the right path to have success. So congratulations to all the winners. Obviously, the top prize goes to C. Hearn, who took down the Millie Maker. He's been a founding family member, been with us from the beginning. I know, Tambo, that you had met him at the 3M Open this past year. Good guy, and we're very, very excited for him. And this goes along with a lot of other wins, as you can see here on the screen. So, more talking than Hoop usually does in the intro. I know Tambo's itching to get in here, but congratulations to everyone, man. It was a fun ride this week.
Yeah, we're going to keep it rolling. We still got 5 minutes left of this talk, so we'll get through it quickly. But I will say one thing you said there. I always watch like the follow-up interviews and everything that goes on after all golf tournaments, but especially after the Masters. And I thought one of the most interesting ones was actually not any of the golfers. There was great stuff that they were saying, lots of things. Scotty just wanted to get out of there, wins another one, but then wants to get back to Meredith. Obviously she's pregnant, so wants to get home to his wife. But man, the Ted Scott interview, who, if those who don't know, is Scotty Scheffler's caddy. The joke is this season how he's made more money than the other professional golfers on tour, because Scotty's now over 12 million in on-course earnings. And obviously Ted Scott gets a big part of that, but they talked to him. He said he just kept saying the same thing. He said, I keep pinching myself. He said, I knew this guy was good. They were like, how did this all happen? Like back in the day from where you first started. He said there was a guy named Ryan Smith, and this, you go back and watch the interview. It was outside. It was an awesome interview. Said there was a guy named Ryan Smith. He told me, just do the right thing. Surround yourself with the right people. Surround yourself with people that have been there or are ahead of you in what they're doing, and good things will happen. And that's really what we're all about at SHIPIT Nation. It sort of hit home for me, because that's what we try and tell people. It's not about the logos and all this other stuff that people get into the drama, who has what logo and all these different things. Doesn't matter. It's about the community and getting involved and being around other people that can actually help you get better at your own game. Like Hoop said, some week the cores and things like that will hit, but that's not what we're all about. That's a very small backside piece of people saying if they have zero time, they can go check it out. Or maybe they read my slate plan for PGA to get some ideas, and then they build accordingly, but they build with completely different guys, just with the concepts, the course fit rankings, the stone, all that stuff. But like you said, that's a big part of it. And if you go to learn and play guitar, you can go get a lesson. But if you're going to play guitar now at a show or in front of friends or family or to perform, whoever taught you cannot go out and play that guitar for you. If you go to a golf lesson, you can go week after week to a lesson, and then you still want to go out and play with your father-in-law or whoever it might be. That person who taught you and knows a lot about golf or is ahead of you cannot go out and hit those shots for you. And it should be the same with DFS content. That's why we talked about innovation, trying to do things differently. Put the education courses out there. Put the tools that you can use out there to try and make yourself better and get better at the actual game. Skip those mistakes that others in the Discord and along the way have made, and just get better at the game. So yeah, lots of good people to congratulate. I'm going to run through it quick. The coolest part was it was an onslaught as the weekend went on. Like, I only have Mark's main win here. He won another 10,000. So this was round one showdown, the 555. Mark wins it. He won the Millie back. He was our second Millie Maker winner after our guy Dalton. And so Mark wins this. He won another 10, 15K that we didn't post. Jay Bannock wins 20K on the same day. And then Ricardo wins like 75 or 9K in the captain late mode. So day one, we're already saying, oh man, this is an awesome start to the Masters. Day two didn't show up until day three, by the way. Mondo says, was hesitant to post this, but yesterday I hit the nuts. Long-time Degenerate 75 fan. Shout out to our guy James. He said to him, I did this thing. He basically was in, I think, for like $200, maybe less, and wins over 125K, ships the flagship round two showdown tournament for 100K. Then our guy Matt, Cuse Matt 23, has been on an absolute heater, especially in showdown, goes and wins the round three one by 0.1 when there's a difference of 75K. So we got round one, round two, round three. Round four, short story, but like our guy Scarface, newcomer coming over from 4 Deep, doing some content in the Discord, helping members out in there. He comes, I think, third or fourth in the Mega Millie. Our guy, it's like JMSHC, I forget it exactly, but good dude in the Discord. Another guy that's, doesn't come around a bunch from a chatting perspective, but he's in there in the community, and he went and got third for 100K. 2012 champ, sixth for 50K. And then all of a sudden, we're celebrating all that. And my guy Chris pops in and goes, did a thing today, and drops the $1 million screenshot on everybody in the Discord. It goes off. We tag everyone. It's just an incredible moment. And he says, apologies, fellas. Again, no apologies needed. Some people are in there to lurk, hang out, be around it, connect the dots, read the stuff. That's great. But he said, I'm not a big contributor, but this is where it's at. And I met Chris last year at the 3M, at the Fantasy Golf World Championship. I was there. Went and he came over. We met, and he said, told you guys you were changing the game. And that is what we're trying to do. Talked about that. Hoop mentioned it, but lots of winners. It breaks it all down here. Gebby, 20K with a FGWC seat. Dylan, 10K. Go Collect. Shout out to Go Collect. Really putting in the work. A ton of it. Always in the Discord. Always in the chat. A big-time contributor. Goes out and gets his first 5-figure win on Classic Slate for 10K. Red Sea goes, oh, by the way, I finished second. Congrats to you. The last bogey dropped me down. Our guy G Ryzen down there for another 2K. Sweet boy. Over 10K. Fam, a.k.a. Pop, always in there helping out and being a good guy to everybody around. Wins 500 plus. Ricardo, we posted and talked about. Jay Bannock. Just a ton going on, Hoop. Anything else you want to add before we get into this? We're about 10 minutes in.
Just love to see that, man. It's like exciting stuff. I mean, you do this to give people, to assist them with the opportunity to have this sort of success. And then when it all comes to realization and it starts happening tournament after tournament, DFS contest after DFS contest, you feel really good about it, man. And it's exciting stuff. And just, again, back to the opening part, like I'm a big believer in surrounding yourself around good people and also surrounding yourself around winners, man. These people are having success. These members are having success. Our team has success. You surround yourself around success and winning. It can be a contagious thing. It really can be. So firm believer in that. And then, yeah, back to the main point, how you tie this all in. And I get it, man. Paying for content is not for everybody. I totally get it. And that's why we always appreciate the support of people in the YouTube community as well. Like that support, very important. But if you are somebody that is paying for content, it's getting to the point now. I mean, it's been this point for a while, but now people, I think, are starting to see it. It's just a no-brainer, these price points. No other legitimate site is offering content for the price that we are offering, and we see it in the numbers. People are starting to buy into it. It just makes logical sense. Like, if you try us out, you're not going to be disappointed. The price tag will always remain industry low, so therefore you're getting the best possible value. Not much is going up. Obviously, we have some price tags that are crossed out, which, eventually we're going to get to those. But right now, you can still use the code HOOP15, and you're paying an industry low price. I mean, it's the best value on so many different levels, man. Very, very proud of everything that we've done and what our members have accomplished so far.
Yeah, congrats.
Not even a year in either, by the way. Not even a year in.
That's what I was going to say. So you brought up a couple points around. I mean, you have a Millie Maker winner. Going to talk a little bit more. By the way, big news. Chris has said, not confirmed yet exact time, but Chris has said he'll be on the show Wednesday. So there's a little teaser for you guys. Come back for the PGA show on Wednesday. We're going to have Millie Maker winner, the latest, Chris, on with both Hoop and I. So excited for that. But you mentioned it, Hoop 15. It does lock in. I've had a lot of questions from people upgrading over the day. If you want to upgrade too, if you're PGA only and want all access, or you're MLB only and want all access, if you're all access monthly and want the annual deal, you could do any of that. Just hit me up or hit up info@shipitnation.com. This was what Hoop said, though. I got to be clear on this. Today is actually our 11-month anniversary. So shout out to all the support and thank you guys for it along the way. But we're 1 month away from our 1-year anniversary. Couple notes on that. Like Hoop said, April 30th. We've been very honest about it. This price will go away. $5.99 goes to $6.99. The 15% off codes go away to lock in as well. Those will go back to the 10% standard first payment. So if you are looking to get in, now is the time. $509 gets you all the major sports for 12 months, and then any of the content that we add on. Be clear on that. So keep note, $389, $699, that's where it stops. That's what we said from the beginning. We still haven't got there, and we're 11 months in. But April 30th, with 15 days to go before our 1-year anniversary, it will go up. So if you've been on the fence, you can use the code HOOP15 to drop this down as well to just under $2 a day. You can make it $58 if you want to do the monthly all access. And then, of course, if you are here and you say, I'm really just here for PGA only, that's fine. $33, you can lock in. Again, that will go away. Or $254. Again, that will go away. So if you are wanting to get in, now is the time to do so when it comes to that. But Hoop, we're big on giveaways too, man. You talk about it, and it's not everyone wants to pay for content. I know 23 people that aren't going to be paying for this content for at least a year, because we had a huge contest over last week about Scotty Scheffler, and he goes out and drops 21 birdies. So that opened up the 22nd winner, because whoever guessed right, we announced them as well. So these 21 winners, the 22nd winner, and then we had the majors contest, which will eventually be a 24 winners, but 23 have been announced. So just a note, if you are one of these winners and you're watching this, remember, sent the messages over today. We said we'd get you on board by the end of this evening. Set up to 24 hours, but we should be able to get you in by the end of this evening. You got to understand, just please appreciate the patience. It does take a little bit of time to set everybody up with a code to get them in one-time use for the annual access. And then some people, if there was any winners that were already members, have to keep that in mind as well. Anything else you want to add, Hoop, before we get into this week? I think that's a lot that we've covered, but the biggest things were the price ending, right? The price going up, the 15% off codes ending. Get in now if you're getting in. And then the other part that we just talked about was the 1-year anniversary coming up in a little bit there. So anything else you want to add before we get to this pricing?
Yeah, the last point, I mean, if you're listening to this and you're like, oh man, it's too late, I've already missed the boat, I can promise you one thing, and we continue to say it, and it remains true. We're just getting started over here. We're just getting started. That is a fact, and we have a lot of big things down the horizon for our members, and that's not me just like saying this shit. There's reality to it. Tambo and myself busting our ass behind the scenes in meetings constantly, working very hard to continue to improve and add on our offerings over here at SHIPIT Nation. And we'll have some big announcements coming up pretty soon.
Yeah, and that's coming soon. And note on this monthly for 33, right now, you sign up, you get 2 signature events and a major, an absolute no-brainer. So hop in, $33 a month will get you that one. Hoopster, let's get to this RBC Heritage. And wow, right out of the gates, I guess I know everyone's, the elephant in the room is will Scotty withdraw. He did say multiple times, again, watching those interviews after the fact yesterday at the Masters, that he will be there this week. Get right back on the horse of getting home to Meredith, get back out there and got to do it again. So, people, maybe if there was already people worried about Baby Watch this week, I'm sure they'll be even more worried. He is 13-3. No, 6K range. I did just cheat a little bit and test the waters. But yeah, 13-3 and a 6K range, no 5K range. First thoughts coming into this RBC Heritage with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys, 10K and above.
Yeah, I mean, Scheffler is going to be a talking point of his own this week after going out and just dusting the field at the Masters, which I think we pretty much predicted. I mean, you and I were both very heavy. In my MME this week, I had anywhere between like 50 to 66% of Scotty, which was basically double the field. Didn't have the right combinations. My story this week, it is funny because I didn't even get to this point. My story this week went a little bit different than a lot of our members, and I like being honest about this stuff. I was winning anywhere after round 1, I was winning $1 million. I was first in the Millie Maker. After round 2, I was winning about $130,000. After round 3, I was winning about 80 grand. So going into round 4, I'm like, all right, I'm going to make some good money this week. Well, when it was all said and done, I had $27,000 in play. I returned $27,200. So I won $200 this week, but it was very disappointing $200 because I was anticipating a lot more. But Mr. Tony Finau had different plans for your boy Hoopster. But in regards to Scheffler this week, I think you're going to hear more about the baby talk because I think a lot of people didn't necessarily believe him that if he had the lead going into round 4 at the Masters, his wife goes into labor. There's no way this guy's withdrawing. That's what people are thinking in their head. Well, this week, I think not only is it closer to the due date, but he just won the Masters and now he's at the RBC Heritage. There's no doubt, I think, in anyone's mind because he's made it very clear his ass is out as she goes into labor. So I think that'll be more of a talking point this week. More than it was last week. I thought it was going to be more of a talking point last week and never really got there because, I just don't think people fully believe that he would take off. But this week, people are going to believe it, and it's closer to the due date, and the price tag is even more expensive. But, man, if he plays this event, like, this guy is an absolute killer. I mean, he is on, Tiger-esque type run here, 13-3, very, very tough to avoid. And then you start going down, and then we're back to the question marks. Rory is just, I don't know. He's just not very good. Is he worthy of 11-2 price tag? For me, absolutely not. This is essentially a no-cut event. Like we looked up the cut rules here. Basically, everyone's getting through. It sounds like what was it like? T65 and ties get through. There's only 69 guys. Is that what it is?
I can't remember if it's like 69 or 50, but it's within 10 with all the stuff they do. But man, these events are basically besides the first one when we said that. But I feel like it had 80 guys, so I don't even remember exactly what it was, but this event is currently 69 guys without any of these WDs yet. So I'll have to wait and see if people WD.
Yeah, and then, people like Xander at the no-cut events. I mean, he was fine, didn't do anything for the first 2 rounds, went like 2 under on round 3 and was right there in contention, not necessarily in contention, but he was right there for top 5. Aubert proved that he's the man. I mean, this dude is no joke, sitting at 10-4. We've been riding him very hard since the swing season, has not disappointed. I mean, based on the way he's playing, I mean, is it crazy to say like he's a top 3 golfer in the world right now? Maybe right there behind Scotty. I mean, the results back it up. A lot of people don't like playing guys first time at the Masters. What does he do? He goes out and gets a solo second. I mean, this guy is the real deal. So people are going to like to play him, including myself. Cantlay continues to disappoint. And then, Morikawa bounce back a little bit at the Masters. Can he carry some of that momentum over into this event? I imagine he's going to be pretty popular this week at 10K. So we got 6 guys up here. Scotty Scheffler, the huge talking point, obviously at 13-3 without a 6K range. So if you plug him in there, you're already down to about 7,300 per spot. Definitely can make it happen this week at essentially a no-cut event, but that's going to be the big talking point here throughout the week.
Yeah, this is the key, man, too. Like, a couple things you mentioned, and the chat's talking about already. Like, how is Rory 11-2 is a conversation piece. You already talked about Scotty. It'll be even easier, I think, at 13-3 with a 6K range. There is no 5. And with the baby news and all that, for people to feel good about not being near him. Xander, you could say whatever. I mean, obviously, it was solid last week, but he didn't do what people thought he would do on Sunday. Neither did Xander. So, to me, it's going to be the two people up top that people want to go to are Oberg, coming off an incredible finish, because look, who cares? Like, people don't really worry about that. They say, man, you got to play this guy. He's just crushing. He almost won the Masters. And then Cantlay's history here, 3rd, 2nd, 3rd, 7th, 3rd. He just dominates here, so people won't care too much, I don't think, at least, about sort of last week, where, by the way, it was still like a top 25, so it's not like people are going to write him off completely. So I think you're going to see maybe not the double stud version of this. It's definitely possible, but I think these two guys are going to be the ones that stand out early on. It'll probably end up being guys like someone like a Rory that you could get your leverage, but do you want Rory leverage? That's going to be the bigger question when it comes down to it. He's obviously going to project well and pop and be out there, because I think his odds are like 10-1 or something like that. I still saw. So just to say it, that's something to look at, but I think people are going to be very comfortable with those guys at the bottom. And then it's kind of like Scotty always gets some, Xander always gets some, the Rory people go from there. I don't know if Cowell will get as much or not, just because the one good finish last week. It's not like he crushed it before, hasn't really played this course super well. So I am interested to see how it goes with Cowell, but I think Oberg and Cantlay, definitely guys that will be on people's radar. And then the top 3 always just get a little bit of love. Anything else up top that you want to talk about? If not, we can move to this 9K range.
Yeah, I mean, I do think at the end of the day, people will end up on Morikawa, because the way this course plays, I'm assuming should set up pretty well for his game. In contention at the Masters the week before, I think people are going to give him the free pass and the poor play prior to the Masters, but we will see, obviously. In the 9K range, Fleetwood coming off a good finish, 9-8. You got Homa also, essentially in I never thought he was in contention. I mean, I thought the whole way Scotty was going to win it. So, it makes it easy for me. But Homa at 9-7, being up there on the leaderboard, people will be excited about that. Fitzpatrick at 9-6. He won this last year, correct? I believe he won
last year.
Yeah. So he'll get some ownership. Spieth, I know has had success here. I think he's won in the past, but his game looks to be in rough shape. I mean, 3 out of 4 missed cuts. Wyndham Clark at 92. I think people could get behind Wyndham at 92 because he was just 10K at the Masters. Now he's 92 here. I think they can go back to him. Didn't have to play on the weekend, so a little bit of a break for him. Zalatoris at 9K seems like a good price tag to him. So looking at this, what do I think people end up doing in this range? I think Zalatoris is going to be a play for a lot of people. But really, I think when people go to build lineups, I think they're going to try to sell themselves on the 10K over like a 9,800 Fleetwood. I think Fleetwood could get squeezed a little bit, and potentially I think that all those guys like Fleetwood, Homa, Fitzpatrick could all get squeezed a little bit because people are going to want to sell themselves more on the 10K range. So we'll see what happens throughout the week. But definitely some validity. How many? There's only 6 guys in this range? Only 6 9K guys. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where I would disagree, because I actually think people just put themselves onto Fleetwood and Fitzpatrick early on. We'll have to see how it shakes out, but Fleetwood, 35th, then a 7th and a 3rd last week. That late Sunday run, he's got a 10th and a 15th here the last 2 years. Fitzpatrick won it here. The people always talk about how it's his favorite course and blah, 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 and all these things. And he's coming in on a 5th, 10th, 22nd. He was kind of trying to do something last week and then couldn't really get the job done. But I just think the upper range, when people eventually get to it, it has to be that we see the lowest owned Scotty we've seen in a while, is my guess. After a Masters win, the baby talk, we'll see. I might not even get proved right on this if he has to WD, or if he can say anything he wants right now, right? In a Masters press conference, he's going to say what he's supposed to say. When he goes home and is like, well, shit, I just won the Masters. Meredith is almost pregnant. Hey, she's not feeling the greatest. I'm going to wait and see. It could pop at any time. I'm going to take it easy, but thank you guys so much. And then that, my theory goes out the window. But I can't imagine even playing if-then scenarios. If Scotty WDs, I can't imagine people go, oh, I better get Rory in there then at 11-2. It's just not something I can see them be excited about. So I guess maybe Xander and Kawa, to your point earlier, would pick up some of that steam. I just think that Fleetwood Fitz, Zal, will be where people are comfortable. I'm not sure if they're going to be as comfy with 9,700 Homa off of a Masters Sunday, and being in the mix. Spieth, like you said, his game's all over the map, even though he's been good here. And then Wyndham Clark dropped down from 10K, but also did nothing last week, talked a lot of shit, and then found his way out of there on Friday afternoon. So that's really all I see there, but we'll see how it shakes out. Wednesday is going to be really interesting once we get some, updates on the situations, all of that. Just another quick update, though. Speaking of that, I forgot. We showed off all the winners. There was 23 winners. If you want to be a winner, there's one more contest to win an annual PGA membership. If you go on today, member or not, and repost our main pinned post here on SHIPIT Nation, go to at SHIPIT Nation on X/Twitter, whatever you want to call it. Make sure you're following, right? 5,300 followers now. We're up to almost 6,500 on the YouTube channel. So goals of 7,500 at both were what we set up for the first year. And we're trying to get there. We still got 1 month. So if you guys can help us out with that. But if you just go on, it's pinned, repost it, like it, and then comment #SHIPIT or quote it with #SHIPIT, you get in the draw for your chance to win a 209. We're already giving away 23 of them. What's another, 24 when we get to the Open? What's 25, Hoop? And just make it an even number. A quarter of 100 is 25. We'll give it away that way. Let's get back to it, though, Hoop. Take us into this 8K range. We got everyone's favorite, Sahith Theegala, 7,700 last week. What did he end up finishing, by the way? It was not good.
45th, yeah.
And he always gets the ownership, though, right? We saw that. I know some people were surprised by it. I knew they thought he'd be, 10 to 12 range. Ended up being a lot more. So Cam Young, Finau, Lowry, Thomas, Connors, Burns, Henley, and Siwoo Kim. What do you think of this 8K range?
Yeah, I mean, people always play Theegala. I mean, I didn't necessarily believe the ownership last week. A lot of sites had him projected, into the 20 range. I was not buying into it, and sure as shit, like, he's way up there. I mean, people just love playing him, so you have to anticipate that the ownership follows again this week at 8-9. I like Cam Young. I'm going to keep playing him. He was solid for the most part, finished 9th last week, and just solid all the way through. And I like him, so I'm in on Cam Young. Tony Finau can literally fuck off. Like, I'm just done watching the guy putt. Like, I have zero interest in seeing him on a green. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm not playing Tony Finau. And if it comes Wednesday, I'm not even joking. If it comes Wednesday and we're on the show and I change my mind and I'm trying to play some Tony Finau, please remind me that I said this and I'm not playing his ass, because don't want to fucking play Finau. Literally,
you said zero interest in playing him, but talk about a guy who had zero interest in playing golf. That Sunday round,
correct? Yeah,
I mean, I didn't go crazy, but I said comfy pairing with him and Rahm, like they're buddies in Arizona. Like, I thought they'd be going out and playing just fine. They both played like shit. Rahm kind of started okay and didn't do the best, but Finau just complete write off of the round. So
just gave up.
He needs to switch it up for sure. Yeah, I think so too.
Just totally gave up. Lowry 85. Justin Thomas though, I mean 8,400, and keep trying to make it work, but man, it just doesn't get any better. And he brings in all the +6 guys last week going double bogey finish. His game is in shambles kind of right now. And is he good enough to right the ship and turn it all around? For sure. But I don't know if I can get there. This is obviously a first look. Maybe some things change, but man, it's going to be a tough click. Connors, you guys know I like Connors 83. Sam Burns, even more on baby watch. I'd say than Scotty. I think his wife's due before Scotty, so that'll be even more. And he said he's out too, right? If she goes into labor, didn't he kind of?
Yeah. Like he's not. We might see him WD sooner than later.
Yeah. Yeah. Henley seems like a good course fit. Siwoo at 8K. Kind of where I'm at here. Connors, Henley, Kim. So I'm more interested in this lower range, I'd say, for sure.
It feels like that, at least for me too. Like the player guys down here that you just know are the ones that have had success or can have success at a course like this. And you go back and look at it, it was like Connors 31st, but then before that here was a 12th, 4th, 21st. He's coming in off some 18, 13, 25th, like some solid results there. Lowry's had good success at this course in the past. Wasn't great last week, but good enough, I think, to come in here and play a guy like him again. Henley, 19th and 9th, 2 of the last 3 times he's played here, a couple 4th places recently. He's been kind of more boomer bust lately, so I'll take that on. And then surprisingly, he was in that playoff. Man, what was it? Was it CT Pan that year? Maybe someone can remind me. I think it was CT Pan. They lost anyway. Siwoo lost in a playoff. Everyone thinks he's good here because of that. But since then, he's been miscut, 33rd and 42nd. So it has not been good for him at this course ever since that playoff that he lost in. But he is a boom bust guy. We talk about him all the time. The price is $8K, so it's not really restrictive. It's less than average. And then you look at what he's been doing lately with the 6th, the 17th, the top 30s, the 12th, the 14th. I can see from a tournament perspective going there, but not a lot else for me. And I'll have to see on, the other guys, probably Cam Young, then JT, then the others. But that's just how I would see them as of right now. Hoop, take us into this 7K range. What do we got here? Bigger 7K range than usual. Yeah, we're back to it. Yeah. Look, multiple 7, 71, 72, 73, 74s, 3 $7,400 guys. Only one at 75, Harris English. But who are some of these guys in this upper 7K? Or let's do upper 7K and we'll skip and do the 6K quicker later.
Whenever there's not a 5K range, the 7K gets pretty big in terms of the number of golfers. Benny On kind of stands out, 7,900. Harman, McCarthy. I'm going to continue to play Batia at 77. Had the win. Comes back at the Masters, 35th. I don't think that's all that bad. So I'm definitely interested in him. Chris Kirk was solid. Bez, there's a lot of guys I like in this range now that we're here. So I don't know what sort of build this gets me if I play multiple upper 7K guys. I'll just plug in like 3 if I go like Bez, Kirk, Batia. So I got 9K per spot. You can make a lot happen. I like a lot of these dudes up here. Poston, I'm fine going back to him as well. Poston, Bez, Kirk, Batia, McCarthy, Harman, all stand out as pretty solid plays early on. Again, a lot can change here as the week goes on, but this upper 7K range looks pretty strong to me.
Yeah, it was Satoshi Kodaira. That's what it was. I remember.
Yes.
I remember
one of Mayo's boys.
The key was that week he bet Siwoo, but he had Kodaira in his tournament on DraftKings, and that ended up being worth more. So he was cheering for that. And the reason I remember that event very clearly is because there was absolutely zero coverage of it. You had to listen to it on PGA radio. You want to talk about going back and how long we've been doing this for? When was it? Back in, I just had it up here. Satoshi. Oh, no, I can look it up a different way. Siwoo. Siwoo, I just had on the screen. When was this?
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank on it, but I remember it happening. I can't tell you how long ago.
2018 was when it was. So just to note, that's pretty crazy, man. Like just going back to that, that's nuts. But yeah, this range, definitely some guys I can see people playing. And I think this gets popular too, because even if you go, I don't know, Tom Kim, Cam Davis, 2 guys I think could be popular. People like Brian Harman, because his, everything else with him, with just like, being a stronger player, it's usually in stronger fields, all that stuff. We'll talk about it. But you can play now a couple of those 9K guys and whatever, or you can make a couple swaps in here, maybe play more guys at the bottom. So I can definitely see this range getting extremely popular, and it'll probably get pretty condensed. I'm not sure who that will be yet. I do think people like Cam Davis. They're already talking about him earlier today in the Discord, just going back to it with Cam Davis. So, but I don't know, like not a lot of these guys impress. Benny Ann had a good finish to his Masters. Cam Davis will be popular, 18th, 12th, and 21st. 3 of his last 4, 7th and 3rd here the last 2 years. I can see that. How much is JT Poston? 76. Yeah, 3rd, 8th, and 6th. Finished 30th at the Masters. Harris English, it's up and down here, but even his recent results have been really good. 17th, 7th, 21st, 19th, 22nd with 1 miscut, the 22nd being at the Masters. Akshay, who you talked about, just a solid player.
See, now we have so many guys that we both think are playable this week. I mean, it's very feasible to, kind of see how ownership gets spread out in this range, because there's so many guys that people are going to want to play, right? I mean, there's just a lot of, and then you start going down into the lower 7s, it continues on. This range has so many guys, I think, that are playable and going to get ownership. I think we could see it spread out a little bit.
Yeah, that's for sure. And I think, it'll get condensed on certain guys was what I was saying. Like, I think if, let's say it's Cam Davis, he'll get to be one of the more popular guys, but you'll be able to get your leverage wherever you want, most likely, just based on that. And then you can make your pivots and your moves that way. But I do think there is some of these guys. What about this bottom range? Like, you like Taylor Moore last week. You got Keegan Bradley. Man, Sungjae got to be getting down to playable territory for you. Not quite a 6 in front of his name, but 7,300.
Man,
for Sungjae,
that's wild.
Jagger, Shank, your boy there. Like, man, there's some good players down here still that you can roll out. So I do think you're right. When you see this bottom of the range, could get spread out. Who are some of the guys in the lower 7K range for you?
A lot of guys, but I can't. You know the rules now of this show. I'm not allowed to speak on Sungjae. Like it's you or nothing. I mean, 7,300 though, man. In this field, that's wild, dude. And just think, last year in this field, he's probably like 8,600, right? Would you say? Probably in the
I can't remember, but he's been
great.
Just
to like throw it out there. Like, I mean, I don't know exactly what it was, but based on this sort of field at this time last year, he would have been probably mid-eights, right? I mean, he probably would have been like 8,500. Right around where Shane Lowry is, right? I think that makes sense. All the way down to 73, but a lot more playable guys. Tom Kim, like, goes out and shoots, what was it, 7 under, 6 under, round 4 of the Masters. Like, did he find something? Because it's been a rough stretch for him. Taylor Moore, like, I'm just going to stay on. He was in the core last week. Continues, I mean, to make cuts, and now we're starting to see some solid finishes. T20 at the Masters for a guy like Taylor Moore, that's huge, huge. Keegan Bradley played well last week. Steven Yeager, Adam Schenk was very solid. Tom Hoagie, Pavon. There's a lot of guys in the 7K range. Now I'm going to be very curious because I haven't looked at the 6K range. Do we see a substantial drop-off? Do a lot of people just try to end their teams in the 7K range because the 6Ks are so weak? We'll see when we get there. I haven't peeked down at all, but I will say the 7K range is very, very strong in terms of the number of guys that I think are in play here Monday afternoon.
Yeah, the real quick in the chat, like this talk, like you can't even compare Scotty and Tiger. Yeah, well, people are comparing the realistic comparison to talk about right now is like the statistical year versus Tiger's statistical year. If you want to do something like that, but talking about careers of a guy like Tiger Woods versus Scotty, who's looks to be just getting started, there's no way to even compare that right now. It's not like Jordan played his whole career and LeBron has played a very long career, and now people wanted to debate that. Mind you, they've been debating that forever, but my point was it wasn't getting debated till it was time to really kind of start a debate. And then there's the old heads versus the new school that will always talk about that, but trying to compare Scotty and Tiger right now, besides a statistical comparison for some seasons or whatever, sure. But Scotty's just getting started. It's been insane, though, the tournaments that he's won back-to-back, and this year the Players and the Masters already in the same season. But it is interesting to note on the Scotty talk real quick, and we'll get back to it, is like never really wins first time out to a course, which some of these upcoming majors will be. Most of his wins always happen and then wrap up by the Masters. He's sort of that early part of the season, and then, you know, what else has he done? Now, this season feels like it will be different, but just to note it, I mean, it's just something to take away. So we'll have to see how the rest of the season goes. But if you've been on Scotty, it's been going pretty well for you. It's been going very well for him. And then earlier, who we talked about, his caddy, Ted Scott, and his team. So shout out to them. It's just incredible stuff. But back to this, like you said, there's definitely guys here. Straka, Yeager, Schenk, Todd, Hoagie's form. I'm getting down into the 6K, but I mean, there's guys here that you can play. So I'm with you. Let's go to the 6K range and see what your first thoughts are on this hoop, because that's kind of where the comparison will come in. Do you want to take shots on guys like Nick Dunlap, Jake Knapp, Justin Rose, Eric Cole, Hadwin, some of those guys? And are they the same caliber and quality of the guys we just talked about in the 7Ks?
Yeah, I mean, just first glance here, I do think there is a pretty substantial drop-off in terms of interest level here of guys in the 6s versus the 7s. Kitayama played decent last week, finished in the 30th, I think around 35th or something. So he'll garner some interest. Glover strikes me as being underpriced at 68. I know you and I were pretty high on him last week and finished 20th at the Masters. So I think he's a guy that could easily be in the 7K range. I guess I'd say, one of the more, I always tag someone as the most disrespectful price on the slate. As of now, it could be Lucas Glover, because I could see him like a 7,500 guy in this field this week based on how he's been playing. So most disrespectful price tag goes to Lucas Glover so far from what I've seen. Adam Hadwin 67, Eric Cole potentially a play, coming down, Eckroat, Svensson. Lee Hodges, I'll definitely go back to Lee Hodges at 63. Coming down, is there anything super cheap? Yeah, no, not a ton, honestly, that I like here, and nothing that stands out as a really good value outside of Glover. Like Glover definitely stands out to me down here at 68. Grillo, I could get back on. I think he finished like dead last. Yeah, he went 76, 83, shot 15 over at Augusta, but let me give him the free pass on that. He's playing pretty decent prior to that. So honestly, not a great range down here, the 6Ks this week.
Yeah, not seeing a ton too. Like, you know who might be playable? EVR, our boy Rin is probably in here at 6,700. Some of these guys, though, I guess like Hadwin, Griot, who you talked about, Glover for sure. Down low, it's probably like, Lee Hodges, Svensson, take a shot. I think he's had a couple, 26th and 41st here the last 2 years, making cuts. Yeah. Now, he's a guy that just has to get one extra good round under his belt each one, and those could all be top 20s, and it would be a different conversation. I'll take a shot on a guy like that. Just place it out there. This is a course that's set up for, that sort of setup. You got to place it out there in the right spot, be able to get your shots in, and then smaller greens. So you miss more greens, but then it's like you're there. It's shorter putts. So if he's off the green, even you got to be decent around them, but you're usually getting them to a spot where it is shorter putts. So guys that can make those 5 to 10 footers, you're going to see a bunch of those this week. We know the course very well. So that'd be it really for me, just talking through some of these guys. Rose maybe is another guy. Nick Taylor, just again, it's a first look, so we're talking through it. But what did he end up doing last week? I forgot. People like to miss the cut. I'll give him a pass too, just for that price tag, man. That's 6,600. That's low. So Nick Taylor, Glover, maybe
Dietrich could potentially add. He's 63. Didn't play last week, but 17th at the Valspar, second at the Houston Open. Like, I don't mind going back to Dietrich a little bit. I don't mind that Nick Taylor call at 66, but yeah, I don't love this range though at first glance.
Yeah, however you shake it out, if you can get another 6K guy in there, I'm almost positive Glover will be popular. He just makes sense. All the other stuff that goes with them. So let's just say that if you put a couple of those 7K guys, and I'm just picking any, you have 9,500. You can easily play the 10K guy with the 9K guy, the multiple 9Ks. There's lots of different constructions with that. If you go to the 2 6K guys, you already have an average of 9. So you could probably play 3 guys up top. And then it really just depends on what you think of that 8K range and that 7K range, because you'll be able to stack up more that way, but very playable. And remember too, it's again, no one corrected me in the chat and I fully forget. I honestly think it is still 65 plus ties or whatever it is within this for these, signature events. And there's only 69 guys as of now. What if Scotty and Burns, both WD, now we're down to 67. It's legit. Just play the guys that are going to outscore their position and do well and finish up the board and all those things. So I think that at the end of the day, that's kind of my take, is if it's going to be like that, I'll be more aggressive for sure. We'll see where it lands on Wednesday when we're back doing it though. And the chat can't stop on this stuff like about Scotty and Tiger, but it could be this year. I don't know, but I still don't think that will define it to say he's better than him. We're talking so early in Scotty's career versus Tiger, who created a monster of a game where they're now look at the reason there is all these top tier players. And it's not really, and I know Ross isn't being serious like he says, but just some of these people talking, it is true. Like, it is such a different game to compare right now. And that's kind of thing always about Jordan. Now with the hand check fouls and stuff, he'd average 45 points a game. It's like, okay, well, again, we'll never know. And you just have to respect the greatness for what it is and enjoy it and go out and watch it, have fun with it. We do a lot of different things with it, whether it's betting on matchups, outrights, top 10s, top 20s, playing DFS, doing office pools at work, all these different things we get to do with it. We got to thank Tiger and the people before him for all of that and being able to do it. But as far as the talent and caliber of the players out there now, it's because of a guy like Tiger teaching them to get in the gym, hit it longer, update your equipment, all these other things. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about on that, the RBC Heritage? And then we can leave it open. If you guys have any questions, comments, throw them in there. Maybe do a little bit of a quick Masters recap here at the end if there's anything you want to talk about there. But anything else on this tournament?
It's so hard to compare guys like from different eras. Like, obviously the competition when Tiger was great is much, much weaker than it is now. Those guys were not necessarily in the gym working out. They're drinking beers, probably on the course, smoking cigarettes, whatever it is, partying in between rounds. The guys really aren't doing that nowadays. It's just so hard. And then the same thing with like the Jordan versus Kobe versus LeBron thing. Well, if Jordan played in this era, he'd probably look more like LeBron James. He would, be bulkier, he'd be bigger, he'd be stronger. It's just so hard to compare these guys. Like in terms of the Tiger Scotty thing, why can't they both just be great golfers? Two of the best golfers in the last, 30 years, 25 years, whatever it is. It's kind of where I'm at with it all. And in terms of this event, looking forward to it. Hopefully, we get some more clarity on the Scotty situation. I know that's going to be a big talking point throughout the week. Again, 1 week closer. He just won the Masters. There's no doubt in anyone's mind now that like if he's in the middle of an event and she goes into labor, his ass is out. Like I think last week, a lot of people, oh, I don't know, it's the Masters. I think maybe he'll stay. Like for sure this week, he gone. Like he is definitely gone. So that'll be a big talking point. Rory obviously playing like shit and super expensive still. So we'll break it all down. Obviously, our content goes up nice and early. Our guy Lee starts getting his stuff up on Monday. I don't think there's many sites out there where their content starts going up on Monday morning/afternoon. And then we roll everything out throughout the week, get it up nice and early so you have time to digest it, not sitting around to say, oh, who's hoop on this week? Who's Tambo on? We got our stuff up early so you're able to digest it, start building your teams, and get in the Discord, ask any additional questions that you may have.
Okay, so I got some updates here. The Genesis is over. The API is over. The Memorial is not till June. So the Memorial will be the third signature event, which will have a 36 hole cut, to the top 50 in ties and any player within 10 shots, et cetera, et cetera. The remaining 5 signature events, which will include this one, the RBC Heritage, will not have a cut and will continue to allocate 18% to the winner of the prize pool, et cetera, et cetera. So no cut at all, even if those guys go out, all that. So I just broke it down, Jay Steele. The Memorial will still have a cut in that first week of June. I think it's June 3rd to the 9th is the week. But other than that, the other 5 signature events, which this is included in that 5, will be no cut period. So just to note that, it was always going to be something like that anyway, but now you know. Let's see here. What else do we got? Oh, here's a good one. Neat. Must answer this question, Hoop. What did you average in bowling back in the day?
I put it in the chat. So I was like around a 215 average, which is decent. I mean, some of these guys nowadays are like, man, 235, 240, some of my buddies. Like, so I'm about 20 pins off them, but I was a decent 215.
Yeah. Real quick too, just for everybody out there, the listener leagues, we talk about this week in, week out. They've all disappeared. Obviously different sponsorships, partnerships with friends like mine, with Mayo, the Fantasy Golf Degenerates, things like that. So one note is if you do want to join a listener league, it's like 9% rake. It pays out $500 to first, $50 to 10th. There's a $10 min cash. It's only $15 to max it. It's a $5 3 max with 750 entries. You can get in. Go to my X/Twitter at ToeTagginTambo. I've reposted it on other sites, and you can just get in now. We do got to fill these things up to keep them going. Otherwise, they're just going to drop it down to 500. But if you are looking for no rake, less rake, anything, we don't have a no rake, but we have a reduced rake version of it that you guys can go and check out. Hoop, any other takeaways from the Masters? I mean, Oberg showing up and doing what he did. Yeah. Mind you, how it ended, 4 strokes difference. It still was pretty insane. I think, Morikawa, I think he had more chances than Homa. He left those first 2 chances were birdie tries on 1 and 2. He had another one shortly thereafter. He just made some mistakes down the stretch where I feel like it could have been a much better day for him. Bryson with the old 3D clubs out there doing all kinds of crazy shit, like in and out, picking up the cross, all those things. And then some of the other guys like Hatton doing enough to show up there. Was there any other takeaways that you had from the Masters?
Yeah, I mean, Morikawa obviously had the chance to, directly put the pressure on Scotty. I mean, he's playing alongside him. So, I mean, make a couple of those putts, it could change the dynamic. But, I mean, Scotty was winning this damn thing. I just don't think there's any way he wasn't going to win this event. He is the best by far. There's a comment above in regards to like the live guys kind of being a disappointment overall. I think that's somewhat of a talking point for sure. I mean, it does seem like way less competitive over there week to week. I have no idea how this team aspect it just seems like a weird thing and not many guys perform well. I mean, Rahm was obviously a disaster and he clearly seems not fully satisfied with his decision. I mean, but again, it's like when you take the money, you take the bag, got to live with the results. And that's kind of, I think, where you got to live with the results, like you said. I don't know, but it was fun. I mean, definitely Aubert, man. Like he's the man. I mean, this dude is for real. You show up to the Masters, you get a solo second. That's a big time finish for him, and a lot of confidence, I have to imagine, for him moving forward.
Yeah, Homa continues to impress. I've talked about this forever. His work on his mental game is so strong. I posted a tweet from back in 2022 that I posted about him. I've been following it for a while. I prefer that Max versus roasting swings. I don't give a shit about it. I don't play a lot of golf. I don't care about that stuff. It's funny to most, I'm sure, but to me, I like following the journey from that and then picking up the little things along the way. Obviously, he had a couple great quotes over the weekend, which I love. But I mean, you go back and watch season 1 of Full Swing on Netflix. It's like Joel Damon talking about him partying and having everybody over to his place in Phoenix, and Max Homa just makes a casual appearance, not drinking, just to say what's up and then get out. And like yesterday, he said, they said, how are you going to feel tomorrow? He was talking about his letdown and disappointment of this, but really he said it's not. Like, I was out there, had a great time, did what I could. I know I can do this now, and he'll be back. But he said he's going to drink for the first time in a really, really, really long time. It's not about drinking or not drinking, just saying he takes it very serious. He talks about the stuff he writes in his journal. He's really working on that mental game, and it's helped him. And I said at the start of the season, we will see Major Max. My prediction was at the PGA Championship. So talk about some momentum going into the next one, but I definitely like that. We've seen other guys like Justin Thomas bust out of their funk and get their first major at the PGA Championship. So I can see a guy like Homa, who's just been playing incredible golf. We get a boom bust set up with him. I think he's going to be a guy that can come out at the PGA Championship and get the job done. So I like him. I thought someone said like the live guys just gave up. I mean, Bryson definitely didn't just get like he wanted to be there. He just didn't play well. Smith put the work in. I felt like Smith and Morikawa were two that left a ton out there. Would they have got to the 11 number with Scotty? No, it was done. It was already over. But my point was they were still in the mix. Hatton, it's definitely not a Hatton course. What is? I don't know anymore. Like the ones that he shows up at are usually overseas, things like that. But really good on him. And he played really well, man. That Sunday round, he made the long ones miss the short ones. It kind of sucked from that perspective. But again, these guys just weren't getting to an 11 under number. And so, awesome event, great tournament, even with Scotty dusting the field in the end. But the funniest I thought was the one I put out there. They say the Masters doesn't start until the back 9 on Sunday. And I said, you know what they say? The Masters doesn't end because as soon as they got to 11 or whatever, it was basically over because those guys all went into it. Usually the year Tiger came back and got the job done in 19, it was hole 12 that took everybody's life away. In this case, it was the previous, and it was just big mistakes on a hole you just can't go left on. And big mistakes on that hole, sort of as soon as Scotty would make a mistake, everyone would make a worse mistake, and then they would still make mistakes, and he wouldn't. Hit some incredible shots. Again, congrats to Scotty Scheffler. An awesome day. Any other final thoughts from you, Hoop, before we get out of here?
No, man, it was a great event. And again, congratulations to all the members. I mean, life-changing success for a lot of people in the SHIPIT Nation community. And we're going to continue to, look to build on that and produce more winners and more success within the community. That's what it's all about. Congrats to all the winners. And if you're not a member and you're looking for a home, I don't think there's a more welcoming spot than SHIPITNation.com.
Yeah, I gave the thing last week. I'll give a 2-minute spiel here just to rounding it out. But I talked with Mayo about it. And I do think people go about it a little bit the wrong way. So just to repeat it. But like I said, like everyone listens to these shows. And this one's more of a first look. So I get it. But most of the shows throughout the week are talking pretty strategic now. Right? Especially you and I, Mayo and I are doing actual roster construction, talking 1v1s, 2v2s, wave stacking, all these different things that we do cover over on the site in the education course. But I think that's where the mistake is made. It's everyone says, "Oh, I'm not gonna join a community. I'm not gonna do anything like that because I'll just take all the free shows and do that." Well, that's fine, and people have success doing it. But I think there's a lot of things that may just naturally, without you even knowing, potentially go over your head because you're not up on the lingo, the glossary, the nicknames, all these little things that you do pick up from a community or from learning or from the things like the education course that you get included. So I always recommend it. It's not like we're asking somebody to spend $1,000 to check it out. Like you can use Hoop 15, join just PGA only, go in here and spend basically $1 a day and try it out for a month and get everything. All these slates, you're going to get 2 signature events. You're going to get the next major for the PGA Championship, and you're going to get some other events as well, like the Byron Nelson, the Zurich Classic. So my takeaway would be try out a community first, see if you can skip over making some of those mistakes, picking up some of the education. You still get to use the course while you're a member of the site. Then go, even if you cancel after a month, you can cancel at any time. You'll have a lot more knowledge going into listening to the free shows than you would if you didn't get up on things and start learning it that way. So I definitely think whether it's us or somebody else, I'm biased. I recommend us. It's $1 a day. It's very affordable, is to check out a site like ours, go in and get all that stuff and go from there. And then go check out the free stuff and all that. And like our guy Go Collect says, again, shout out to him. First 5-figure score on a classic slate. He's been putting in the work above and beyond even, right? And some of the stuff we're working on for upcoming. So congrats to him, 10K this week. But I know he'll tell you the truth. is it's a lot of work. There was a lot of losses and a lot of letdowns before there was him closing up shop. He sent me a DM yesterday and said, can I get this thing done? He had 28 player holes remaining. And I said, hey, it's not quite that situation yet. I said, you're within a point this way and a point that way. And I'm always going to be straight up. And I said, but I'm rooting for you, and go take that thing down. And then sure enough, at the end of the day, he got the job done. Nobody can guarantee you that out there. That's the key takeaway. But I can guarantee that if you get around a community like SHIPIT Nation, you'll be around a lot of supportive people, a professional environment that's focused on process, education, actually getting better at the game, surrounding yourself with those like-minded individuals with similar goals and mindsets. So check it out. You can do the PGA only. You can do the all access. I won't say it again, but the price is going up on the other stuff. We said that since day one. We're at the 11th month of our first year, and Hoop 15 is going away as well. So check that stuff out, guys. Appreciate you all. Thank you so much for watching. For Hoop, for myself, ToeTagginTambo, let's ship it.